Okay, semua dapat dengar
Boleh.
Ada berapa orang ni? Ada
House
Lot.
banyak agak. Uish. Okay, thank you. Thank you siapa yang join kita orang punya session untuk malam ni. So without further ado, saya nak start lah kita punya episode untuk minggu ni untuk malam ni. Jadi dia minta F Violet boleh mute tak sebab agak bising lah.
Dah mute.
Dah.
Okay, terima kasih. Sorry. Okay, jadi Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera buat semua pendengar dan tetamu kita pada episod kali ni pada malam ni. Jadi sebelum apa-apa saya nak ucapkan terima kasih banyak-banyak lah sebab sudi luangkan masa untuk join kami punya podcast untuk episod minggu ni. Jadi selamat datang untuk mendengar kita orang punya episod pada minggu ini dalam podcast Your Feelings Are Valid, Everyone Is With You, We Hear You. Gitu. So, jadi ulangan sikit sebab ni first episode Ni first episode. Dia setiap minggu kita orang akan buat satu episod. Jadi program ini kita orang lancarkan lah, bukan kita orang lancarkan. Sebenarnya Council of Principal yang lancarkan, jadi kita orang just collab agar kita dapat connect lagi dengan student-student yang lain dalam nak kenal pastilah masalah-masalah yang berkaitan dengan MCO dan juga kesihatan mental ni. So apa-apa topik lah yang berkaitan dengan MCO kita akan bincang lah pada malam ni. Jadi malam ni kita punya topik which is the Endless MCO, when will it be over? Gitu. Jadi topik ni dia bincangkan tentang topik-topik yang berkaitan dengan MCO, which is sebelum ni kalau korang tengok Twitter lah ada banyak isu-isu, contohnya macam bendera putih, political issues, isu-isu student UiTM sampai meninggal sebab stres kan. So ni semua efek mental illness para pelajar di seluruh Malaysia disebabkan oleh MCO ni. So kita akan bincang pasal topik ni tidak lama lagi. Saksikan. Jadi saya tak nak buang masa lagi kan. Anda semua pun tak nak dengar saya membebel-bebel pasal semua benda ni. Jadi saya berjemputlah kita punya tetamu untuk malam ini. Kita ada 2 orang tetamu untuk episod pada kali ni, episod first ni. Jadi tetamu pertama kita pada malam ini ialah gadis yang memakai spek mata tu. Okay.
Ada dua.
Jadi
Ada dua. Ada mana
ada
satu?
dua. Dia
Ada
yang buka
okay.
kamera
Okay.
yang okey satu.
Okay.
Okey. Tetamu kita pada malam ini yang tetamu pertama ni kita boleh panggil dia Sis Lina.
Boleh.
Beliau merupakan seorang yang pernah ada pengalaman lah dalam mengharungi dan menghadapi masalah kesihatan mental ni. Jadi pada episod malam ni kita nak temu bual sikit beliau pasal banyaklah isu-isu, topik-topik yang saya akan tanya tidak lama lagi untuk nak minta Sis Lina ni explain lah and cerita apa dia punya experience semua tu kan. Jadi tanpa buang masa lagi, saya nak jemput Sis Lina. Apa khabar Sis Lina?
Alhamdulillah. Baik.
Alhamdulillah baik je Okay. Sis Lina sekarang kat mana? Dekat rumah?
Kat rumah.
Dekat
Takkanlah
duduk mana?
takkan duduk kat dorm kan. Kalau
Oh
dorm
iya
besar
tu,
macam ni macam
sorry.
okay.
Kalau dong besar sini, saya pun nak. Okay.
Tu.
Okay, duduk mana Lina?
Sekarang ni dia dekat nilai.
Oh nilai.
Ya
Oh, orang
nilai.
Nagori. Orang Nagori.
Tak.
Bukan,
Saya
bukan.
budak Shah Alam je.
Oh,
Saya
okay.
budak Sabah.
Okay. Hari tu saya pernah pergi Ayon Nilai. Best juga tempat dia, Ayon Nilai. Tak ada kena-mengena tapi tak apa. Okay. Okay, Lina. Boleh saya panggil Sis Lina ke Lina?
Boleh je. Ya.
Mana-mana.
Kan.
Okay,
Ya.
Lina lah. Okay, Lina. Ceritakan sedikit lah tentang diri Lina. Lina belajar apa, dengar cerita, ambil law. Kan? So, cerita sikit. Latar belakang.
Well, I'm a third year in law already. It's very stressful. It's been a stressful 3 years, honestly. If I were to introduce myself, I'm 21 this year as well. So never in my life have I ever thought that I'd actually end up with a mental issue.
Yeah. Yelah.
So yeah,
Okay.
I don't know how else to introduce myself.
Okay, tak apa. Itu pun dah buat para pendengar di luar sana dapat macam rasa macam, uish, Lina ni power juga. Dia pernah harungi benda-benda macam ni kan, so diorang akan lebih interested lah. Jadi nak remind lagi, kita live dekat YouTube dengan Facebook juga So pendengar ataupun siapa-siapa lah yang tengah tengok kat YouTube dengan Facebook tu pun boleh yelah, kalau nak tengok soalan ke apa-apa boleh tulis dekat tempat ruangan komen kat bawah YouTube tu and kita orang akan tengok lah. Okay, jadi Lina, apa pengalaman Lina? Cuba Lina cerita sikit pengalaman Lina dalam, sebab dengar cerita Lina ni pernah menghadapi anxiety dan panic attack kan?
Yeah.
Jadi yelah, cuba Lina macam cerita apa experience Lina.
So
Yeah.
where do I start? So I guess I can start with like panic attacks first because that was the first thing that kind of led me to get some help regarding my anxiety. So when I first got my panic attack, which I actually didn't know that it was a panic attack because I'm also an asthmatic person. Like I have asthma. So before I knew about panic attacks, I thought that whatever my inability to breathe, because when you have a panic attack you also have like sesak nafas. So it's I thought the first thought that came to my mind was, oh, it's you're just having an asthma attack. So when I first experienced a panic attack, do you guys remember that one time where Malaysia had that really big haze?
Okay, ingat yang
That time,
jerebu teruk.
yang jerebu teruk tu. So at that time, me and my friends, we went to the pasar malam behind IIUM again. So we went there, and whilst we were walking there, suddenly I felt like sesak nafas. And suddenly I started to shake really badly, and I actually wanted to get out of there because there was just so many people. And my friends started to get very worried because they were just like, kenapa tiba-tiba macam ni kan. And I was like, I don't know, I just want to get out of here. I don't want to be here right now. And like at that time, I think like the makcik dekat situ also saw like my face, just like something's wrong with this child. We don't know what's going on, but like we need to do something. So like this one makcik, she was like, okay, adik sini, and she like gave like here a kerusi. She was like duduk sini.
Okay.
And
Pasti
it took
jugalah
like
makcik tu.
Yeah, so she was like, tak apa. And I think she gave like a apa kipas to like
Yang
cool
macam
me
sate,
down.
macam
Yang
kipas sate
sate
tu.
itu punya, she gave
Okay.
that. So it's just like my friends are just trying to fan me and trying to cool me down,
Oh.
and I'm just there like, like just hyperventilating. And then cause when we got there, the whole thing in my head, I was like, I just want to get my kway teow and get out of there. So like I got my kway teow and I quickly went out of there. And the moment I reached my dorm can, I just bursted out into tears. Like I just started to cry because I actually didn't know why. I just felt like I had to cry at that moment. And so like when I first like what was it when I experienced this whole panic attack thing, it was like new to me. It was just something that I didn't know that it was possible. It wasn't even a possibility in my mind.
So
Like it was
kiranya
a panic attack.
masa tu memang first time lah Lina pernah
Yeah.
ni kena panic attack ni. And masa tu memang betul-betul clueless lah.
But like my friends were just like, we don't think that's a asthma attack. They're very sus about it because I say it's probably an asthma attack. Then like when like at that night, one of my friends is just like, Lina, I think you were experiencing more of a panic attack than it was an asthma attack. Because if you were having an asthma attack, you would have like pingsan at that moment. Like you literally would have like just knocked out.
So
yeah.
sepanjang Lina dekat pasar tu nak balik ke Mahalah tu memang tahan je lah, duk tahan je.
Tahan je. Macam you weren't even thinking about what was going on around you. You were just like balik. Just go back now. It's like focused on one thing and that was the only thing.
Okay, faham.
Yeah.
So kiranya macam panic attack ni lebih kepada macam dia tiba-tiba jadi lah kan? Ke ada sebarang factors yang boleh
Ada.
trigger?
It depends on the person juga. Because for me personally, when I went to my therapist, they even asked like, what like have you ever experienced benda like do you know what your triggers are? And I didn't know what it was. But like when it comes to like the panic attacks that I have, like the major ones, there was no trigger for it. It just happened. But it could also possibly be stress juga.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So lepas tu Lina lepas lepas occur attack tu, Lina ada pergi mana-mana doktor ke, jumpa pakar? Tak lah.
Right after that.
Oh. Okay.
When it comes to my whole journey with like my panic attacks again, it took my friends a whole year to convince me just to go to the counselor, just the counselor, not even seek like actual help from like outside. So it took them a whole year. So I had to struggle with I struggled with anxiety for like a whole year at that point, but I didn't know it was that. And then it took one whole year, and then baru I was like, I think the breaking point was when there was this one time where I had to. It was during our pre-reg.
Oh, okay.
And it was during that pre-reg. That time, one of my seniors check up. You have to take 23 and above credit hours. And at that time, I was already struggling with just 17 credit hours. And so when my senior said that I had to take 23, I took the 23 credit hours. But the more I looked at that particular semester, I had a breakdown. I at that moment my friends were still in the dorm room, but like I went to them and I just like cried to them. I was like, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. Like, what am I gonna do? Like this isn't this. I just can't. And then they just like looked at me and they were just like, Lina, take a deep breath and go to a counselor. We're gonna book an appointment to the counselor. Sekarang juga, open it up dekat iMaklum, open it and then go book an appointment now. Because at that point, because I was already stressing out, I was like, yeah, I can't handle this on my own anymore. That's when I went to the counselor. It started off with going to the counselor at UIA.
So lepas Lina jumpa counselor kan, ada perubahan tak yang Lina boleh perasan tentang this panic attacks ni? This mentally settled ni?
Kinda, but it's not macam, how is it? It's not drastic because
Hmm.
they gave like solutions as to what you can do. So like for example, macam one of the counselor that I went to, dia cakap lah macam, because I had like very bad overthinking at that point.
Hmm.
She always like told me like whenever you feel like you're overthinking or like you catch yourself overthinking, you take a notebook, you start writing down whatever's in your head, and then once you're done writing it down, you read back what you just wrote,
Hmm.
and then you can see what happens. Like you can see like what your thought process were, and it did help.
Okay.
She also taught me like breathing techniques, but like that didn't help much
Oh.
because whenever I start having a panic attack, I really don't care about breathing.
Hmm.
I just don't think about it at all because like I just can't focus on the breathing at all because I feel like it's just too slow.
Okay.
So, but because like it was helping a bit, but it got to the point where I felt like I needed more help.
Um,
So that's where I went to the doctor for it.
hmm. So, lepas macam Lina jumpa pakar ataupun doktor tu kan, apa benda-benda yang macam doktor tu suruh Lina buat? Ataupun things yang mesti ada benda yang Lina kena buat kan?
The first thing that the doctor said to me was like, he sat me down and he was like, okay, so you have a panic disorder? And I was like, okay. And
Mhm.
then he said that, so we're just gonna start off by giving you some of the medicine.
Hmm.
And then the doctor did ask, like, do you want to take medicine? Like, do you want to take ubat for it? And
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Like, I'm ready. I want to go for this. And then he
Hmm.
was okay, okay. And then at that point he asked like, are you sure you're okay? Like, are your parents okay with you? And I was like, oh, my parents don't know that I'm going here.
Oh, tak tahu pun.
Ta. And like
Hmm.
he asked like, why? And then I said, because they don't want me to go.
Ya ke?
Yeah. At first they
Oh.
were just like, you know, I didn't
So
patikulan.
Lina adalah beritahu your parents yang about this situation.
I did at one point. At
Cuma
one point when I was ready lah.
then dorang punya reaction? Dorang,
I mean, I only told them when I did it. So like once I went to the doctor, once I took the meds, I was like, "Oh yeah, I went to the doctor and I'm taking meds for my anxiety now." And they can't say anything, they can't do anything cuz like I already did
hmm,
it. So
hmm,
like they're just like, do what you think is best. You're an adult
okay.
already." So I guess the first step was like I took the meds, and then after that they said because it's not like the meds is just to help you like boost it. What you have to do
Mhm,
next is like therapy. It's like
mhm,
I went to therapy and the therapy was like the therapist ada bagi lah like a lot of what's the thing called? She gave a lot of options on how to deal with your anxiety. She gave like other options like the breathing method was one thing, and then she also gave like other coping mechanisms, and then one thing that she did tell me was like you need to find a hobby. Find a hobby
okay.
that you really like and you do it on your own, or you can do it with your friends but like mainly on your own. So macam, it's like kind of like just it's just something that you like focus on what you
Oh,
want. So yeah.
so dia dah masuk part dia recommend Lina untuk ada hobi baru ni. So macam apa macam mana apa cara-cara Lina untuk cope setiap kali Lina dapat this attacks ni? Macam Lina buat apa? Ataupun this
It,
mental
whenever
kesihatan
like
mental ni?
whenever I get a panic attack, I would just like what's the thing called? Duduk dalam bilik diam-diam seorang in the
Hmm.
dark. Because to me, like the dark is very comforting to me sometimes.
Oh,
Because
okay.
as time goes by, I do feel comforted by the dark. But that's one thing. The other thing is just scrolling on YouTube, watching whatever I want.
Oh, so while Lina tengah having panic attack tu macam Lina buka YouTube.
You focus on something else. That's the main point.
Oh, kira
Because like
macam tak boleh fokus dekat
because I focus too much on my symptoms. Like when you're getting a panic attack, there's like a what's that thing called? A build up. So like until you get shivers or your hands start to get cold, your hands start to get sweaty, your heart starts to palpitate. And that's one thing that I focus too much on, because there's this one time during the whole week I was very cold. I always like shivered. My hands were constantly cold. Even my friends were just like, "Kenapa tangan sejuk sangat?" Padahal like I'm wearing a hoodie already. It's like and the day would be hot, but like my hands would still be ice cold. And like muka pucat and all that. So whenever like whenever I focus too much on what is happening to me physically, I feel like the buildup is stronger than it is. So what my therapist cakap, jangan focus too much on what's going on. Jangan layan. Jangan layan. So bila layan, dia macam your brain is telling you like, oh yeah, it's here. Your brain, like the panic attack is coming. So that's one thing. And then so like the starting off, like when I got what's the thing called, the therapy session, my panic attacks were very bad. They were very bad. They were frequent. There were major panic attacks almost like there were 3 major panic attacks every week. So it was very tiring, of course, and the meds were helping, but because I was still on a period where they were just testing out the ubat, if the ubat was good for me or not.
Dorang ada
So
benda tu
yeah. So the normal intake you would get is like 10 milligrams, but like they start with 5 first just to test out the ubat, and if it doesn't like macam do anything to you, they'll switch to another one. So it's like that. And then what happens is during that time, one of my therapists also said to cope with the panic that you're feeling right now is you think about something slow. You associate that panic attack with something slow, which helped me so much. It was such a drastic change to how I would normally feel every time I had a panic attack. So she gave like examples, like for example, you're feeling like a panic attack is coming, like the buildup is there. So like one of her patients thought like associated the panic attack like with a nene, because you know how nene is like very slow, so like the panic is very slow, so the buildup is very slow and it's never gonna reach you. So that's the whole process. But I tried it so many times, like nene, a gajah, but because like those things were always like big, I always like, oh my god, this thing is gonna come at me and it's gonna like swallow me up and I'm gonna die basically. So what I thought was like a batu, but like you know those like small pebbles when you're walking, like you see like a very small pebble. That's like my thought process. I was like, whenever I feel like what's that thing called? A panic attack is coming, I always like tell myself like, oh, it's just batu tak boleh like batu tak boleh gerak. A batu is just small. So like when you think of like it's never gonna come to you, it doesn't come. And so it 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 kind of like shortens the time, or like you can think and will away the thought of like, oh, I'm not panicking. It's just a batu. It's not a panic attack, it's just a batu. And so it actually helped, but like at one point it didn't help because it was just like okay, it still comes, but like the major panic attacks don't come anymore because of that thought process.
So bila Lina try untuk macam fikir yang these attacks ni sebenarnya tak ada apalah, macam Lina pun fokus untuk dekat benda lain, tak fokus, tak layan
tak layan
dekat these panic
the
attacks ni.
symptoms.
So memang betul-betul help lah.
It helped a lot for me.
Baru tahu. And I bet dorang-dorang pendengar kita malam ni semua pun mesti baru tahu benda ni. So that's why kita buat podcast ni kan. So kita dapat share more information. Kan? Jadi besides panic attacks, ada tak macam Lina pernah experience mana-mana mental attacks yang selain daripada ni panic attacks tak absolutely. So memang mainly
Um,
panic attacks je dengan anxiety.
uh, when so during the MCO, I think it was the second, I think it was the second semester where we had the online classes.
Mhm.
My mental health dropped so low. It was
Hmm.
so bad for me because at that point, I think, yeah, at that point, my siblings were not, they were not helping in a
Faham.
sense where things were a bit tough at home. And when things were a bit tough at home and you can't get away from that, because normally when you're on campus and like family kind of stresses you out sometimes, you can go back to campus and then you can just like get away from it, right? But like me, you're at home and
Hmm.
work is also like the assignments were piling up, and at
Yeah.
that time, like lecturers just like kept giving you so many
Itu
work.
itu pun satu kan.
Yeah.
Ah, lagi satu podcast kita ni macam transparent tau. So apa-apa isu kita boleh cakap and not beyond this lah. So macam nak cakap pasal politics ke pasal IAI pun tak apa.
So when when it was like it was the lowest time for me because at that time I would be crying 3 times a day.
Hmm.
Bangun tidur pula, bangun nangis, tengah buat kerja pun menangis, and I cry myself to sleep. And it was repeated about for 3 months, for like, so for a whole semester. And it got to the point where I was crying but I had macam dah tak rasa sedih. You
Oh,
just cry. So like tears would just be like falling down my face whilst I'm doing work, but I'm not sad at all. It was just a way to like um what is that thing called, like
just
express how you feel. Like it's just like
yeah.
the best way to express like I'm
Sama-sama.
I don't know what's going on but I just want to cry. Macam tu.
Time Lina
And
okay, apa?
so after, when I told my friends about that, one of my friends, she was like, "Do you want to go to the doctor?"
Hmm.
Like to the like UIA doctor to get a referral
Yeah.
to go to your like to the hospital. And then at that time I was like, I don't know about that. Like should I really go? Like I was skeptical about going to seek like help to like outside of
Faham.
counseling dekat UIA. She was like, you're not feeling good.
Hmm.
It's not normal for you to be crying 3 times a day for
Hmm.
3 months. And
Diorang
I was
pun
like,
perasan
yeah,
lah. Diorang pun perasan
yeah.
lah.
And I'm stubborn, so like I was just like, maybe not.
Okay, okay, cool.
And they're just like, just go, Lina, just go. And one of my friends summoned me to go. And when I went to the doctor and I told her about, I cried every day basically. I cried every day for 3 times. And she was like, have you ever thought about like, you know, ending yourself?
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I have thought about it, because there was at one point where I thought that if I was such a big problem, you know how like you have to get rid of a problem,
Hmm.
and I was the problem, so I was like, huh, hmm,
Hmm.
So yeah, I told her that, and she was like, Lina, that's not anxiety anymore. And I was like, oh really? And she's like, yeah, that's called depression. And I was like, oh, I never knew I had depression, but okay.
Hmm.
So um UI, like the doctor dekat UIA referred me to HKL, and they referred to me as a student yang suffered through depression. But after
Hmm.
getting like after talking to my doctor, they check up, you just have a panic disorder. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's the closest to me having another mental health issue other than anxiety. But I'm not even too sure about that. So yeah.
Oh, apa what makes Lina macam just what makes Lina strong macam go through this situation? What makes apa
My friend,
factors dia? Siapa?
my friend.
Oh,
Honestly, I can't stress this enough. Like they're rasa macam nak nangis lah.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You cry, cry.
So, um, I didn't have support from my family.
Mm.
So, and my friends always told me like, funny,
It's okay. It's okay.
sorry,
No, no. It's okay.
just my friends are the ones that get me through it all. They've experienced when they've experienced me at my lowest. They were the ones that were always there for my lowest. So I always thought like the biggest disappointment is disappointing them by not helping myself. So whenever I was going through something tough, I would always go to them and I would always tell them, and they would always tell me something that you always needed to hear, honestly. Like,
Mm,
the words of like, "Oh, I'm proud of you.
mm,
That was good."
mm,
You rarely get that. Like, I rarely get that. So
no.
when I hear it from my friends and my friends say it, it's kind of like I know that they know what's going on with in my life because
Mm,
they see things I struggle with. They see the struggles that I had to go through. So when they say that they're proud of me for like, for staying strong, it kind of like helps with, it's kind of like when you're in the dark, you see a light, like a hand reaching out to you. That's like how it feels.
mm. I think we all can agree, pendengar-pendengar sana pun saya rasa semua can agree yang orang macam Lina ni sebenarnya strong Tom, kan, sebab dia dapat macam mana dapat mengharungi these situations and dorang still boleh keep a smile on their face, faham tak, kan? Sebab I think dorang ni pun tak nak macam cakap kat orang lain yang dorang ada these kinds of problems, kan, sebab dorang rasa macam dorang rasa macam macam Lina cakap tadi, a burden. So macam this kinds of person macam Lina ni is sebenarnya macam very strong lah mentally and also physically, emotionally, semua tu lah. Sebab macam saya ulang tadi, dong boleh wake up in the morning, keluar macam bak kata orang macam tampal je muka, smile face tu macam tak ada apa pun jadi. But sebenarnya on the inside these situations ada. So and Nina, we just want you to know that you're not alone. That's why kita orang buat this podcast to let you know yang we hear you. Yang mungkin ada certain people yang macam tak kisah, kan, macam lantak doang lah. But sebenarnya there's a lot of people yang care for you lah. Macam you cakap, your friends, kan, your friends gitu. So it's okay. Wah,
The tears are not stopping.
tak sangka akan ada sesi emotional. Okay, tak apa. Okay, last question lah. Lina rasa this current situation MCO ni, dia effect tak Lina punya mental? Hmm. And positively or negatively? This current MCO, duduk rumah, study kat rumah, semua.
Negatively, yes. Because, like what I said before, lah, sometimes it gets hard because of like you can't get away from certain negative environments. Positively, yes juga. Sebab I feel like if I didn't have to go through whatever like the bad things I went through, I wouldn't have like actually gone seek help. I feel like the negatives kind of pushed me to like understand myself, and that's one thing I feel like this MCO kind of did, where it helped me understand like my limits. Because one thing's for sure is that dulu I was very harsh on myself. Dulu, like I always like compared myself like, oh, other people can do it, why can't I? Especially when you're in IIKOL. IIKOL is very pressuring.
Yeah, itu dah tu. Itu dah tu.
Law is kind of pressuring, if I do say so myself. And it's a you're kind of expected, like, especially when you're a law student, you have this thing where it's like, oh, budak law dorang pandai, oh, budak law dorang
Hmm.
memang like three pointer and above ah.
Hmm.
But it's hard when you're not in that golongan, you're not in that group where it's like the smart people, like the
Hmm.
smart, the academically smart, like the dean's list 3.6 and above punya people, and it's like that eats you up. But I feel like without this MCO, it's kind of like, because to be honest, my grades do, like, they have like rise, like they've risen throughout, like, during this MCO, and
Hmm.
it made me realize, like, oh, you're not that dumb. But like,
Hmm.
it's positive in a way where I'm not as harsh on myself as I usually am. Like, I don't compare
Um,
myself to other people. I'm always like, ah, takpe. They're them. They handle their
hmm.
stress differently. They that's how they study. This is how you study. It's okay.
I think it's good lah macam you have that mentality not to compare your ability dengan orang lain kan. Sebab I think kalau you compare ni macam dia lagi yalah macam lagi depressed kan sebab
Yeah.
you start to compare things macam tu. Jadi Lina, ada pesanan tak dekat kita punya pendengar-pendengar dari luar sana yang mungkin tengah experience juga dorang punya story, each person ada dorang punya story mental illness ni kan, mental sickness ni. So mungkin Lina boleh bagi pesanan atau advice dekat dorang yang sebab mana tahu dorang ni jenis yang macam takut, jenis yang tak sure untuk express dorang punya um, emotions dekat orang lain, orang jenis yang takut untuk approach doktor semua tu. So apa Lina punya pesanan, advice? Lah.
This is what my friends always say. Kalau takut nak jumpa doktor lah regarding this, right? What do you have to lose? You're not,
Hmm.
kalau when you go there, it's just to calm your thoughts, whether you actually have it or you don't. Because that's one thing that I was like thinking, like, do I actually have anxiety, or is it just like me
Hmm.
overthinking it? And my friends are just like, pergi, go and seek help. Tengok if you actually do. If you go and you come back saying they're saying like, oh, tak ada apa-apa, you're just stressed. Okay, you can find something else to do. You can
Hmm.
find something that can de-stress you. But if you go and then you come back listening with like a new information about yourself, then that's good too, because then you can help yourself. You can find an appropriate help for yourself. And
Hmm.
I know it's like scary to go and seek help because I went through that, and it's it takes a lot. I feel like you have to decide it on your own. At one
Hmm.
point you have to know like what's good for yourself. And if going to seek help is good for you, then go for it. But if you feel like you're too scared to go, I think mm, like talking to a friend that you really trust is really important as well. Having somebody there for you. Honestly, it can also be a cat. Because at one point when I didn't have my friends with me, I would cry to my cats. And I told my therapist, and she was like, "Oh yeah, animal therapy works a lot better juga."
Hmm.
And yeah, just it's okay to be scared. Just take your time and think think for yourself, basically. It's okay to be selfish at these moments.
Actually these animals macam pets, macam cats, dogs ni dong boleh macam tak tahu it make sense ke tak, tapi dia macam uh, boleh faham tuan dia punya feelings kadang-kadang
Yeah.
kan.
Yeah.
Oh itu jugalah jadi salah satu peneman lah kucing bila Lina cross this mental illness. Okay. Jadi tu je lah. Thank you Lina. Terima kasih sis Lina atas perkongsian yang dengan pesanan yang sangat macam orang kata um, dapat membantulah pendengar-pendengar luar sana yang mungkin tengah harungi this mental illness juga, and I'm sure dorang pun akan tengok Lina ni as a role model sebab nak follow Lina punya steps in contacting pakar, be strong to yourself and don't compare yourself to others. Okay. So thank you sangat-sangat Sis Lina, and pendengar di luar sana juga, and korang juga dekat dalam Discord ni pun boleh lah tanya soalan-soalan dekat Sis Lina ni sebelum kita continue to our next tetamu. So if korang ada soalan apa-apa, so silakan. Nak tanya, nak open microphone boleh, nak tulis dekat text pun boleh, dekat text channels. Silakan.
I just want to say dekat Sis Lina, congratulations for going through therapy in a way. And I know tadi Ahmad dah kata that you are very strong for being able to wake up every day and fighting all those feelings and putting up a face to not show how you are in pain. Because I understand that, like, all of us are going through something right now, especially during this MCO. Sebab macam Lina katalah, MCO ni macam tak semestinya ada negatif je, ada juga positif. Tapi macam bila ada hari-hari yang datangnya negatif effect tu, memang dia jadi macam mana? Macam it takes a lot from you. It takes your energy. It takes a lot from you. And again, congratulations that you're still here.
Yeah.
So, tu je nak cakap, nak pesan kat you. And again, just so you know, your friends or those who love you will be there for you, and you will know who.
Thank you for that.
Jangan menangis. Kalau you menangis, I pun menangis.
No, we're gonna cry. Don't cry.
Tak apa, inilah Discord ni is all about macam nak kita just being transparent and share apa-apa je emotion yang kita ada kan. So it's okay. Jadi ada siapa-siapa yang dekat YouTube mungkin, kat Facebook ke, yang ingin cerita juga, bukan tanya soalan je, nak cerita diorang punya pengalaman juga, diorang punya mental health punya pengalaman pun boleh share juga.
Saya ada baca cerita dekat YouTube, ada seseorang bernama Lukman ya, dia cakap sedih lah sikit. Saya sembunyi kat sini, dekat sini tu dekat kampus Dia kata dekat kampus ni tapi ramai orang lain semua tengah kuarantin. Dia seorang je yang dah habis kuarantin. So isolation tu memang effect mental health.
Sudah.
No,
Keluar.
Kiba.
Tak apa, saya sambung lah.
Come back.
Okay, Kibah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Dia kata isolation affect mental health dia, especially because activity in campus restricted, macam tak banyak boleh buat, nak dengar kata nak bersukan apa semua pun ada kekangan dia lah. So socializing is the nature of human. So bila isolated ni memang terasa effect, dia kata. Lagi-lagi bila positif COVID memang terasa impact mental dan fizikal. So saya nak cakap dekat Brother Lukman yang tengah dekat campus, and semua siapa-siapa yang tengah dekat campus sekarang, I hope you guys stay strong. Siapa yang tengah quarantine tu, quarantine sampai habis. It's all for your own safety juga, bukan orang lain je. So yeah, tu je.
So
From YouTube.
stay strong Brother Lokman, stay strong. Yeah. Ada kat Facebook ada tak? Tak ada lagi Okay, so selain daripada ni, siapa-siapa dekat dalam ni boleh lah cerita ke apa-apa ke. Kalau tak, kita akan continue lah to our next session, which is okay, kalau tak ada tak apa, saya continue lah. Ini ada. Okay, tak apa. Okay, dekat next session kita, which is lepas kita dah dengar perspektif dari seorang yang pernah experience sendiri student which is Lina ni, kita juga akan mendengar perspektif dari seorang pakar kan, sebab kita nak tahu these kinds of answers dekat questions yang Lina pernah tanya-tanya tadi semua tadi, and yeah, how to, apa faktor-faktor how to cope dengan this kind of situation semua ni. Jadi tanpa buang masa lagi, saya nak jemput tetamu kedua kita pada malam ini, iaitu Sis Rina. Diorang dua ni nama nak dekat Lina dengan Rina. So kira macam episod ni special lah. Tak ada lawan lah episod depan-depan ni. Episod ni special lah. Okay, jadi apa khabar Sis Rina?
Saya sihat, Alhamdulillah.
Oh, Alhamdulillah. Sis Rina dekat mana sekarang?
Okay, actually for those who not know me, I'm from Kuantan. Okay, Senior Psychology Officer Kuantan Campus.
Oh.
Yeah.
So memang
Thanks for inviting me.
Our pleasure. Thank you dekat public relations team lah. Okay. Sis Rina sekarang cuba Sis Rina macam ceritakan sedikit latar belakang Sis Rina, apa Sis Rina buat kan semua ni.
Okay, so actually I'm from Kuantan. So I'm graduate from UIA Gombak in psychology and master in guidance, education, guidance and counseling. So my experience about 16 years as a counselor. So I started join UIA in 2008 until now. So now I am a senior psychology officer at Kuantan Campus.
Oh, so
So
memang
do
Sis
you know
Rina.
about Kuantan Campus?
Oh, tahu kita orang tadi kita orang lah my batch lah. Adalah batch memang kita orang kan ada satu time tu memang set fest dekat Kuantan dulu. So memang setahun je lah tapi, and lepas daripada batch saya memang asasi dekat Gambang lah. So Alhamdulillah lah dapat rasa sikit Kuantan tu macam mana kan. Best juga Kuantan. Okay, jadi Sis Rina, sebagai perspektif daripada seorang pakar kan, dengan situasi MCO sekarang, bagi Sis Rina, adakah MCO ni menjadi salah satu faktor yang cenderung kepada masalah mental ni kalangan pelajar?
Okay. Ini okay. Minta maaf ya, muzik terlalu kuat. Saya tak berapa clear. Okay. Boleh perlahan sikit tak muzik?
Music
Yes, muzik terlalu kuat.
groovy.
Okay. Alright, faktor MCO adalah faktor ya. So as we know that COVID-19 is a pandemic, is a crisis ya. Other than crisis COVID-19 itself, then we can say that we will face a mental health pandemic. Okay. So MCO is a part of ways to overcome the situations become worse. And what is MCO is a lot of restrictions that we might face. Of course, one of them is social restrictions. Very obvious. Okay. So we need to put physical distancing. We need to always follow SOP. And one more thing about quarantine. So quarantine become a way of life now. So due to this, a lot of changes in our life. So it becomes very stressful. Okay, to face with these situations. Okay. Because setiap perubahan dalam kehidupan kita akan berdepan dengan a little bit stress, And then so this is how what people always associates the MCO with stress, with mental health. So there's a lot of our needs taken away by SOP, by MCO, but we cannot blame with SOP with MCO itself, But we need to focus on on what we can control rather than things that we cannot control. That is very important. memang kita berdepan dengan mental health pandemic lah, conclusions other than COVID-19 pandemic. So we need to really, take care ourselves, not only physical and mental also. Yeah.
Jadi Sis Rina, sekarang ni ada this issue dekat Twitter. Saya teringin nak tanyalah dalam perspektif pakar. Dekat Twitter ni ramai golongan-golongan macam yang dah kerja, yang dah 30 plus, yang dah bukan jadi student lah. Diorang ni cakap, these students yang mentally distracted, yang ada sakit masalah mental sebab MCO ni semua lemah. Diorang macam lemah sebab yelah duduk rumah je pun, belajar duduk rumah, tapi kenapa sampai nak kena kacau mental semua. So apa pandangan Sis Lina tentang isu ni?
Okay. Actually everyone is affected lah, not only IPTA student, IPT students, every level of society affected emotionally. Okay, adult, okay, kanak-kanak, okay, adik-adik kita sekolah rendah. So it doesn't mean that we need to agree with that statement lah. So as adult, I can say, as a professional, I can say that yes, some of the statements says we cannot conclude that only IPT, but we can say that every level of society affected.
Jadi
so dia impact dekat kanak-kanak, impact dekat orang tua, impact dekat orang dewasa, impact dekat young adolescents. Okay, not only IPT, there's no such thing IPT or not IPT. Okay. Maybe you have more experience stress because uncertainty situations, because you all dah university kan. Maksudnya of course you expect that after graduate, okay, you akan bekerja dan sebagainya. Because of this pandemic, there's a lot of uncertainty, so you need to maybe ambil masa lama untuk finish study. So there's a lot of things that yang tak clear, make some of us feel stressed about our future. Of course, yeah, when we talk about our future, it's relate with our expectation from family, it's relate with our financial planning. So therefore we more prone to get stressed.
Jadi betul lah Sis Rina cakap, macam semua affected kan, orang dewasa, students, even budak-budak yang macam dorang baru rasa macam nak pergi sekolah. Contoh macam dah darjah satu, dorang rasa baru macam nak feel macam mana pergi sekolah kan, and then tiba-tiba MCO occurs and dorang tak boleh nak pergi sekolah, and dorang ni macam kesian jugalah, affected juga kan. And ada this kinds of budak-budak ni memang suka pergi sekolah, dapat jumpa kawan-kawan, dapat peluk-peluk semua tu kan, and then tiba-tiba dorang kena pula cakap rumah je. So dorang punya childhood tu macam tak best lah sikit. And
yes, betul. Sangat affected lah, especially kids lah yang sekolah rendah semua. At least kita adult ni kita dah merasa zaman yang berjumpa kawan, but yang baru jadi kids ni dia bermain tu, dia miss dia playtime tau. So this is something we need to focus also lah. Okay, so kita tak boleh katalah student IPT saja.
Okay. Jadi Sis Lina, apa pada pendapat Sis Lina kan, sebagai seorang kaunselor di UIA, macam mana situasi kesihatan mental di kalangan pelajar UIA sekarang?
Okay, as I said that we cannot generalize with one cases, two cases, and it shows that our students are very weak. Our students are facing very high, a lot of students facing a lot of mental health issues. Okay, so actually as I said, it depends on the, we all facing it with the crisis. Okay, and crisis give us a lot of impact emotionally. Okay, so I don't think what I can say that the MCO, the pandemic give us, some of us trigger to mental health. So we cannot say that it's really severe, it's really our student are really high stress. Everyone is stressed now. Okay, so that is the things that we need to accept. Okay, everyone, not only IIUM students.
Jadi um, ramai pelajar di dekat UIA ni, diorang macam stres tau, diorang feel stres lah sebab sebabkan this last semester yang macam last semester ni a whole 10 weeks without cuti. Jadi macam ramailah students yang bagi aduan yang diorang rasa penat, diorang stres, and UIA should done better, semua tu lah. So apa pendapat Sis Rina?
Okay, actually kan bila kita berdepan dengan krisis, there is no perfect solutions. There is no perfect solutions. Okay, yes, memang betul. Online learning sangat tired. Okay, sangat orang kata stress. Okay, but how we see the thing is very important. How we perceive the situation is very important. It will influence our emotions. Okay, kalaulah kita memang kita akan tendency to see all those things is negative, but try to think at least one thing, bright sides, of the solutions. Apa maksudnya orang kata advantage, okay, with decisions yang dibuat. Okay, it doesn't mean that totally wrong. Okay, I'm sure that everyone try to do their best to fit each other. But dalam masa krisis ni, satu solution tak boleh fit untuk semua orang sebenarnya. Dan what we need to do is we need to adjust ourselves and we need to adapt. That is the best way now. Okay, adjust and adapt with the situation. Try to see the bright side of the decisions. Okay, macam sekarang ni apa yang government buat, ada pihak yang berpuas hati, ada pihak yang tak berpuas hati. But try to ask ourselves what we want. Okay, for me as a humans, okay, as a mother, okay, I just want safety. They say, okay, it's okay. Okay, for example, my income reduced. It's okay. My kids cannot catch up a lot of things in academic, but as long as they are safe in the house. Okay, so of course you still always think about the students. Okay, apa yang dia buat tu must be a reason behind that. Must be a reason. Okay, for example, okay, in our life kan, kita nak pergi satu tempat, kita lewat. Okay, kita terlewat. Okay, alamak, kita blame adik kita yang bersiap lewat. We blame our car, we blame a traffic light, but we forgot about Allah planning in our life. Okay, because of we late, maybe we are safe from accident, for example. Maybe we are safe from something bad happen to us. So this is thing that we always need to bear in mind, that always equip with our self with something wisdom behind the things happen. Okay, for example, pandemic COVID-19, MCO, social isolations. Okay, there must be something that hikmah behind that. Okay, maybe we become more take care each other. Okay, macam now today, okay, kita boleh berinteraksi through online. Siapa sangka we can, sebelum ni selalu kalau nak panggil ceramah kena face to face. I need to go to Gombak, you need to invite kan, I need to drive. But now through Zoom, through Google Meet, so we can outreach each other. We can reach out our friends. Okay, we can see Gombak students. Okay, we can see Kuantan campus students. This is how the pandemic give us something to think about. Okay, and we not expect that everyone, we not, actually me myself not not really familiar with Google Meet before this. You know, we just feel, what is that? Okay, first time I use the Google Meet. What is that? You know, I take about 1 hour to explore Google Meet. But now, very simple. We can just meet friends, okay, through Google Meet. So this is how the pandemic give us, advantage. And even some of us, uh, they have new hobby now. Okay, okay, ada hobi baru. Okay, and dia develop diri dia. Some of us also join certain program. There's a lot of online program, a lot of online training program. So kita tak boleh tengok satu sudut sahajalah bila kita kata decisions tu dibuat and give disadvantage. We must also think about advantage lah.
Okay, faham. Jadi, Sisina, Sisina ada tak beberapa pesanan lah ataupun advice yang boleh Sisina bagi dekat pendengar di luar sana? Contohnya macam how to prevent this mental illness from occur, macam mana nak cope, semua ni lah.
Okay, the first thing is that waktu pandemic ni, even you face with slightly very small changes in your life, in yourself, okay, seek help, okay, get and seek support, okay, seek help from professional, seek help from friends, okay, macam tadi Lina kan dia ada bercakap kawan, okay, find support system, okay. So walaupun you nampak very simple, you cannot sleep for 3 days, you cannot focus on your study, okay, you feel like a lot of populations, okay, if you think that the thing is disturb you, okay, in your normal daily life, please seek help from counselor, seek help from doctor, okay. So don't say that, okay, nowadays, okay, we have a lot of government hospital, doctor, medical officer can treat also and the anxiety, the depressions, okay. So don't think like okay, oh alamak, saya ada anxiety, saya ada depression, sampai saya kena pergi psychiatrist, so you rasa you sangat worse. No, okay, this is an illness, so we need to treat, okay. Kita kena bagi rawatan kepada diri kita, okay. So if you feel like a lot of rasa macam tak confident lagi nak pergi jumpa doktor, bincang dengan counselor, okay. So always mindful, okay, always aware what happened to yourself, okay. For example, during this pandemic, you got anxious when you see a big number COVID-19, when you see a lot of news about COVID, okay. So you know that trigger, okay. So you can give yourself, for example, away from news, okay, ataupun orang kata tu block all the news lah for a while, okay, sampai you rasa you bertenang. But if this anxiety continue, you need to seek treatments or seek counseling or counselor, okay, and ask and share your problem with them, okay. I'm sure that counselor, they have experience, they know what to do and how they can help you.
Betul lah, Sisina cakap macam always seek help kan, macam don't deny yang sebab ada certain people macam dorang deny macam oh tak ada apa kot, macam Lina tadi cerita macam awal dia rasa macam tak ada apa kot, biasa je kot tak asma kan, but actually benda ni serious kan. So macam advice Sis Lina is just go and approach pakar, doktor and seek help, don't be afraid, okay, sebab actually pakar-pakar ni dorang can help us lah and in combat lah lawan this mental illness ni lah. Okay, jadi terima kasih banyak-banyak kepada Sis Lina. Akhirnya kita dapat tahu juga daripada perspektif seorang pakar pasal isu ni, mental illness dengan MCO ni. Jadi saya nak buka lah soalan kepada pendengar-pendengar kita di luar sana. Dan juga dalam Discord ni sendiri lah, kat YouTube ke, dekat Facebook, ada tak soalan apa-apa yang nak ditujukan kepada Sis Lina sendiri. Dan juga Sis Lina pun boleh lah tanya apa-apa kepada Sis Lina. Tapi okay, dekat ada orang tanya from question text channel, why is it that people, tanya kat Sis Lina, why is it that people, often adults or parents, look down on people having with mental health problems and compare it to themselves or their times? Contohnya macam ayah dulu masa stres tak ada nak buat benda bukan-bukan. Dulu lagi susah buat itu ini semua tu lah. When we are in a completely different era with different environment and situations, kita macam kenapa compare ni lah. Cuba Sis Rina terangkan.
Okay, first they do not understand what's you going through lah. Okay, and then memang this is the common reactions parents, okay, untuk selalu melihat sesuatu tu dia punya perspektif lah, because dia dah lalui, dia dah kata makan garam daripada kita. This is always has been mentioned, betul tak? You selalu dengar macam tu kan? But untuk kita sebagai anak, kita tak boleh take it personal lah apa yang diberitahu. Okay, mungkin dia sebab parents kita dia tak aware mental health ni, dia tak aware mental health issues. Dia tak tahu depression, dia tak tahu anxiety. Okay, mungkin adalah yang tahu, okay, tapi sangat kurang. Mungkin yang parents yang duduk di bandar ataupun parents yang highly educated ataupun dia memang doktor dan sebagainya, mungkin tak ada masalah. But parents yang memang dia tak ada exposure, memang family semua tak ada pengalaman, so memang agak difficult to convince them about what happening to you. Okay, so therefore kalau you are pergi counselor, okay, kalau pergi jumpa doktor, okay, biasanya doktor akan cuba tanya ataupun akan call parents. Okay, so di situ penting kita share dengan doktor lah. Okay, apa cabaran kita, so bagaimana kita nak approach parents kita and tell our situations. Okay, normally when doktor call and doktor akan bagi education kepada parents, then they will understand. Okay, begitu juga dengan counselor lah. Okay, kalau kita call parents with permissions students, okay, kita beritahu what happening, apa yang berlaku, okay, then they will sangat support sebenarnya. Okay, so I can say that they not really understand the mental health issues lah.
Okay.
That's my answer.
Okay.
Sis Rina, saya ada soalan. Kalau macam kita rasa macam semua benda tak cukup and we know that is a problem, macam kita kena love ourselves, macam mana nak belajar to love ourselves more? Ada apa-apa tips tak?
Okay, pertama kita nak sayangkan diri kita kan? Okay, kenapa tak sayang diri tu?
Kalau rasa macam diri ni macam tak cukup, buat apa pun tak cukup. Macam buatlah sehabis baik macam mana pun, tapi still tak cukup. Walaupun dapat A macam alah kenapa tak dapat A plus macam tu.
Okay, sometimes our generations, ada juga generation kita ni, among kita ni yang seek for perfections. Yang sangat nak satu benda tu perfect lah. Ini kita kata personality lah. Mungkin banyak faktor yang mempengaruhi. Okay, sebelum saya bercerita pasal nak cinta, nak sayang diri kita tu, kita kena kenal diri kita. Adakah kita seorang yang perfect and high expectations? Bila kita perfect sangat and high expectations, kita akan harsh diri kita, sebenarnya dalam diri kita ni kita perlukan macam mana kita bercakap dengan kawan. Okay, how we talk with our friend, we talk nicely, betul tak?
Betul.
Okay, kita akan macam kita nak sangat tunjuk kasih sayang kita dekat kawan kita tunjuk appreciation, kita cakap baik-baik, benda yang baik. Begitu juga dengan diri kita. Okay, so we need to listen we need to know apa yang kita beritahu kat diri kita, perkataan-perkataan yang kita keluarkan daripada diri kita. Katakanlah kita tak dapat sesuatu tu, okay, okay, tadi yang first tadi you cakap kenapa saya tak boleh dapat macam ni kan, tak cukup. Cuba kita tukar kepada okay, saya dah buat yang terbaik, okay, I already do the best, okay, saya akan improve. Okay, so this is ways that Allah want me to put more effort. Okay, so kata-kata kepada diri you, words yang you keluarkan kepada diri you sendiri tu, okay, you kena ada penuh kasih sayang lah. Okay, kindness to yourself. Okay, even benda tu small, very small je, you puji dia, mungkin lah kan, janganlah puji depan orang, cakap apa nanti syok sendiri kan. You know, at least you
Nanti orang
puji.
kata riak
Riak pula kan, you puji, Alhamdulillah lah, boleh lah juga buat walaupun last minute semua kan. So you akan rasa lega. But kalau you a lot of criticism, kita kata self-critic banyak, itu yang akan buat you anxious, itu yang akan buat you negative about yourself. Kita kena suka diri kita kena sayang diri kita.
Tapi macam mana nak sayangkan diri kita kalau kita tak sayang? How do you love yourself when you don't? Like how do you start loving yourself when you don't love yourself to begin with?
Yes. Buat sesuatu yang kita suka. Buat sesuatu yang kita suka untuk diri kita. Okay. So most of us, kita nak bagi hadiah, kita fikir birthday kawan, kita nak fikir dah hadiah apa semua kan. Okay, cuba kita fikir, birthday kita lah nak bagi hadiah apa ni. Okay. So kita pupuk kasih sayang pada diri kita sendiri. Bagi kepada diri kita dulu. Okay. Sokong diri kita dulu. Give something yang positif, words yang keluar semuanya positif. Okay.
Thank you for the answer, Lina.
Walaupun you kata beli tudung baru, new clothes ke kan, so tapi that is the best thing you can do for yourself, even small, that is very good. Itu pun dah cukup bagus. Okay, untuk you celebrate and kindness to yourself.
So harap Lina dapat jawab lah soalan daripada kita and daripada Lina sendiri. Jadi itu je lah kita nak sampai sini je, and terima kasih banyak lah kepada dua orang tetamu kita pada episod kali ini, which is Sis Lina dengan Sis Lina, sebab sanggup meluangkan masa diorang untuk jadi tetamu dekat kita punya podcast malam ni. So jadi terima kasih banyak-banyak lah. And
Alamak.
okay, dengar tak?
Dengar.
Okay, minta maaf ada masalah teknikal sikit. Okay, sambung. Okay, terima kasih banyak-banyak lah, and terima kasih juga dekat kita punya pendengar-pendengar di luar sana kat YouTube, dekat Facebook, dekat Discord ni sendiri, sebab sudi meluangkan masa dengar apa yang kita borak-borak lah pada episod malam ni. And audience lain pun ada, kalau ada soalan dekat Sisina sendiri, kat Sisina silakan, tapi minggu depan kita ada satu episod setiap minggu, so next week akan ada lagi satu episod, dan cuma yang berbeza adalah host. Jadi minggu depan korang dah tak nampak saya lah, anda dah tak nampak saya lagi, anda akan nampak Sister Aisyah lah, tapi itu nanti minggu depan akan surprise lah. Okay, and jangan lupa saksikan program IIUM TV yang bernama You Matter pada setiap hari Khamis jam 9 malam. Ingat tahu, your feelings are valid, everyone is with you, we hear you. Hanya di IIUM FM, your campus radio. Jadi itu sajalah daripada saya selaku host anda pada episod malam ini. InsyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi dalam episod-episod yang akan datang. Jadi jangan lupa setiap minggu hari yang sama, hari Sabtu pukul 9 malam sampai 10 malam, samalah kat Discord semua. Jadi itu saja session atau episod kita untuk malam ni. Assalamualaikum dan selamat malam untuk semua pendengar dua sana. Terima kasih.
Thank you everyone. Sorry lebih masa.
Alah, terpes
Thank
pula
you.
borak.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
And selamat Hari Raya juga. Selamat Hari Raya.
Selamat
Oh,
Raya.
selamat raya.
Selamat Raya.
Oh ya, lupa raya.
Lupa Raya.
You guys kalau nak lah, you guys can still hang out dekat Free for All tu, cakap-cakap amongst yourself.
Kita balur
Give
serang
you-
ke, kita balur serang.
balur.
Wih, dia nak
Boleh,
balu.
Drop your
Wow.
follow, drop your follow ID dia.
Your
Boleh.
riot ID.
Raya ID.